Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Activities for People Living with Dementia. We're proud to offer this series with funding from the Area Agency on Aging and the United Way of Tarrant County. Some of our programs are recorded and some are made available for viewing through a YouTube channel for future use. To find us on YouTube, type in Dementia Friendly Fort Worth. Click on our logo, which is the longhorn with the blue background, and choose the word videos. I am Martha Brown, your host for today's activities. We are always tickled to bring Peggy Spier from the, nope, not that one. Where did it go?
There we are.
There we are. My bird and I are fighting over the remote, the mouse this morning. Thank you. Peggy Spier's bringing us ghosts from the collection of the Amon Carter Museum of American Art. Peggy, let's just let you have it and get it off of my bird and the mouse. What do you think?
All right.
It says words that I can't get.
Okay, share. All right, we're doing ghosts. We're getting spooky this week. And some of these artworks really are more creepy than ghosty. We're going to start here. This is called Phantom of the Past.
Wow.
What reactions are we having? Because I heard some.
That it'll go away.
Looks like it's kind of like warish.
Looks like what?
It's like a war theme. Looks like he's
War,
got a
okay.
soldier's helmet on.
You're exactly right. Look what year it was made, 1942.
42, right?
Ooh.
So this is a reference to World War II. And a little history about this particular artist. He was Swiss born, lived in Basel until an adult, then moved to France. And then with the onset of World War II, he and his wife quickly got out of France and got to New York City. And then they spent the next couple of years getting all of their friends, most of them were artists, out of Nazi-occupied France into the United States. So they were, while they were not in Europe during this, they were not watching the battles. They were, wait, am I confusing my artists? No, that's right. He and his wife were very intimately involved in rescuing those from Nazi occupation. So this is more skeleton to me than ghost, but what gives you ghost vibes and what gives you skeleton vibes?
Well, it looks like you see the spine and the ribs or something.
Yeah, the rib cage.
Yeah.
And the thigh or leg
Yes.
bone, thigh bone.
Yeah.
So
And
those
the
are
legs and the feet are kind of weird. They just kind of blend in with the environment.
Yeah.
The skull.
Yeah, the skull.
Yeah.
The
With,
evil skull.
with a goatee.
goatee.
Yeah.
So then what makes it feel ghosty?
It's kind of black and white with, and the white kind of makes it look ghosty.
The color, I agree. The color does very much contribute to sort of that eerie feeling. I promise there is color this time, guys.
Okay,
But
good.
this one does not have color. What did other people say? Because I heard a couple other things.
The kind of smoke coming out of the helmet. And
Yeah, that windblown type of look that this
Almost
soldier
looks like a
kind of
bomb.
has.
and whatever coming across the legs flowing back.
Yeah, that blanket there.
Yeah, that drape of that
So I
swath of
see-
fabric.
I see that that's holding a piece of paper with some sort of symbol on it. I don't know what that is.
So I think that might be a reference towards a military uniform.
Okay.
Mhm.
Across his shoulder onto his
Oh, okay,
arm.
got you.
Oh, like an
And,
epaulet.
Yeah, kind of like an epaulette, maybe, some sort of demarcation on his arm about ranking or something like that.
What is
so
on
we
his
don't
left
see the epaulette
shoulder?
on the other side. Not that it needs to be symmetrical, but it's and in other wartime artwork from this period, you often see references to badges or flags or military rank and marking. And
So
I
what-
think another thing that makes it feel a little bit ghosty is he's not walking. We've
No.
seen skeletons in the past where it's just a soldier walking, soldier doing soldier
Yeah.
things. But the fact that there's no contact with the ground makes it have that air of ghost.
Ah,
Um,
that had not clicked for me yet.
That looks like.
I mean, and it doesn't have to click for everyone, but I'm glad it clicked for someone. I mean, this is kind of just what my take on it is. So this particular artist was really, really interested in these kind of ghost-like forms, skeletons, things like that. A lot of his figures looked very windblown or have these gauzy drapes that all of you have pointed out, whether it's on the shoulder, the leg, or the thigh. I mean, even he doesn't seem to have true skeleton arms like some other parts of his body.
Right.
But he was also really interested in the occult. He was considered a surrealist artist, which, as a reminder, surrealist art is the blend of reality with the subconscious or the unconscious and fantasy,
Yeah.
creating these kind of scenarios where you recognize something, but you wouldn't recognize it in this type of situation.
Okay.
And so that kind of strange beauty, the unexpected. So he was a surrealist. He was in France with surrealist artists, and then continued that and really deepened it when he got to the United States. And so we kind of see some of that fantastic imagery where we recognize it, but it's not real. And there was something really interesting about him that I came across. Oh, he was really interested in medieval imagery, and that could be because he grew up in Switzerland. But you might feel like some of this looks familiar because of that medieval imagery. So we've got the helmet with what might look like the mouth guard.
Yep.
Those teeth.
Yep.
Even the positioning of this skeleton could be a horse. It looks like some of those horses you might see in tapestry,
okay.
medieval tapestry, things like that. The holding of this flag
Yeah.
can have that medieval association. And in Switzerland, there were carnivals and things like that, parades that he would often see as a child. So he was very influenced by those types of things. And so this kind of references that type of happening as well.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Please. I don't know if I have an answer. It was hard to
So-
find stuff on this one.
What is that thing that's underneath the epaulette that has an eyeball looking out?
I don't know. I don't know if it's meant to reference bone or a chest plate or some sort of armor.
Oh, like a shield?
It could be part of that surrealist presentation is taking things that look familiar, but then when you look at it, you're like, but wait, that's not where it would go, or that's not what I thought it was. Kind of like I think I've told you all this before. In graduate school, I took a surreal data and surrealist class, which it was the coolest.
Maybe not.
But the entire semester, we had to record our dreams. So if we wake up in the middle of the night, you had to write down what your dreams were. And you know, it like if you remember your dreams, it's like, yeah, then we were at my house, but it wasn't my house, and my mom was there, but she had bird legs, and then my dad walked in, but it wasn't his face. I mean, like, that's a lot of what these surrealists were working with, is these things that would come in their unconscious, which while you're sleeping. So you recognize these things, but not how you would see them in reality. So this could be something that really looks like something, but we're not used to seeing it in this context of on a body or something like that.
So what if you don't remember what you dreamed about?
So I'm sure a lot of people lied about that, what they were dreaming about. I'm sure that was
Your
A
paper
mood.
was blank.
yeah, right. I don't dream. I was so deep asleep. No, I mean, it would be like, and I would actually get up to write it or like have the journal by my bed, But by the time the morning came, I couldn't read my handwriting. It was
Yeah.
Mhm.
so it was like loosely translated. I think this is what I was dreaming about.
Yeah.
Peggy, can I just, you say that it could be medieval or that he was into medieval things
Yeah.
and that, he has this flag in his right hand. It could almost be as if he's riding a horse and those legs are the horse, and he's
Yeah.
just sitting across the horse.
You're absolutely right. You're
true.
absolutely right.
Mhm.
It
Yeah, that
conveys
looks like a- looks like
movement,
a-
whatever it is, whether he's on a horse, off a horse, partially a horse. There's a sense of movement with
Mhm.
motion of the legs, like you're pointing out, the
Yeah.
swirling that Steve had mentioned with like the fabric and the helmet feather. I don't know what that is.
See, the helmet to me looks like a bomb, and it's from the Second World War that,
Yes. Yes.
diffusing.
Mm.
Look at you, Yetta. I love that. I mean, that's could very much be what he's referencing, because he was interested in the not the carnage, but the violence that was coming with this and
Mhm.
the sadness. So I mean, bombs create that. All right, well, we're gonna leave our skeleton horseman and go to this one. I think is so creepy.
Yeah,
I agree.
Say that again,
Oh.
Steve.
I agree. It's creepy.
It's creepy.
yeah, I don't want that at my house.
Uh-uh.
No,
Uh-uh.
I'm closing my eyes. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
right. So we've got color here, not a lot of color, but a color that doesn't, I mean, it's yellow, which is typically a brighter, warmer, happier color. Here it feels kind of like a sick color to me.
Yes.
Does anyone, do you feel
Yeah.
like that, Don?
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mustard.
yeah, kind of like that bile color. I don't know. It looks very,
That's what I was about to say, baby puke.
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
From one end or the other.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, right. It feel, yeah, it's not a pretty yellow. It's, oh, it's not, we all have kind of not pleasant associations with this color. So this particular artist was born in Spain. He lived in Barcelona. And in the early 1900s, he was living in Barcelona when there was a lot of revolution happening. There were activists, the government was trying to control certain things. So people were acting out. There were bombings, there was gun violence, things like this. So that's what he grew up in knowing. His family then got everybody out of Barcelona, and there's a story I read, he and his brothers told their moms they were going to the movie theater. The movie theater got bombed. They actually lied, they weren't there, and they got back home later, and their mom was really confused, and then she beat them because she was so upset that they lied. She thought they were dead. It was a whole thing. So, but he grew up in turmoil in his home country. Well, so his family decided that they were going to get out of Barcelona and go to New York, Brooklyn specifically. So Federico did not like Brooklyn. He thought it was too calm, it was too peaceful. He was used to this. Yeah, it just wasn't for him. And so I mean, he had no choice. He was a child, so he's there with his family. But he would watch kids out his window. He'd go outside, maybe go play with them for 10 minutes, and then come back inside and start drawing just in general. And he continued to draw things that he was really interested in, like carnage and death and ghosts and evil and darkness, because to him, that's what was soothing. Get a psychologist step in here. It's like, well, you're hardwired. That was your upbringing to some extent. You were exposed to this. This is what you know is safe, even though it's not safe. So he would draw these. This was not from his childhood, but Diego Rivera, who was married to Frida Kahlo, who's a big muralist, discovered him and really urged him to continue moving forward with his art career and put him in touch with different people in New York that was able to kind of get his career going. And so when he turned 20, I believe he went back to Spain and started doing these continued to do these dreamlike sometimes erotic, which we have a little bit of that down here.
Yep,
This is
that's
not
right.
nearly as erotic as some of the other ones he has. This giving life to evil, which we see here. Something I read said that this is his self-portrait, so this I think is him.
Yeah.
But again, he was considered a surrealist, where it's this
Oh.
So when you
combination of. Go ahead.
that looks like death, obviously,
Mhm.
in the yellow. And then it looks like the woman's looking up like she's welcoming death. And the other person's man that's grieving.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a fear of this death being there.
No.
Because she is, or whoever this is acknowledging it, almost smiling.
Smiling, yes.
Mhm.
And even though death is hanging over them, he feels a little non-threatening. It's not, he's looming over them. He's almost just passing them over.
Oh, yeah.
The sickle or the scythe is not raised in this picture, it's down.
It's down. Yeah. It's like he's just carrying
So
it.
I think flying past them is a great way to put it.
Hmm.
It's not poised to strike.
So
Right, it
death
doesn't, it
mean for
seems
them.
there, but not threatening.
Right.
And so, I mean, we're here, this is so typical of his type of work. We're blending reality. So he could have been with, that could have been his girlfriend or someone he knows or whatever. Him, those are reality. And then a memory. So this could have been a memory he had of a person he once, loved or whatever. But then there's the fantasy of death flying over.
Yeah.
So there's, oh, go ahead.
Maybe this person is smiling because death's passing her by.
Yeah. So anyway, a lot of his works are in this color palette, with like a couple general pops of color but mostly this dark, heavy palette to evoke that type of emotion. He really enjoyed the occult as well, and death was very interesting to him, and monsters and things like that. So this is a one of those examples. And this, I believe, no, this was not Tamarin. This was not Tamarin. Okay, so this one really creeped me out. This one is less creepy, but it's called Ghost. I would not have titled this, but that's not, my ghost would look very different in my mind. What feels ghosty to you on this one?
I
Well,
think it's more like an alien or a starfish.
See, I saw starfish, yeah.
Okay.
Sword.
Sword.
yeah, it's a sign, it's a sword. I agree with Dusty.
Oh, like the handle of a sword.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I see. Does anyone see the face?
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
The face
Maybe
and
the
the
fist?
And
handle
the hands.
and the fists
Yeah.
on the ends. Yes.
Again,
me, it looks
most ghosts, I feel like when you picture the ghost, you just picture the white sheet with the two black eyes. Like that's your familiar ghost. This doesn't feel super ghosty. It almost feels saint-like to me because of this halo.
Hmm.
And the arms almost have that
Like a
angelic
cross.
feel to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Like a cross.
Yes, yeah.
crossed.
Exactly.
It reminded me of bat wings.
That wings, okay.
It kind of reminds me of some of the Native American art related to their spirits and representations of them.
Steve, you're on it. So this particular artist was Mexican, moved to the United States, but was very interested in indigenous symbolism, pre-Columbian symbolism. So that you're talking Inca, Maya, and then American Indians. So yeah, so we do see some of that. He was also interested in European modernism. So that explains some of the color palette, those almost electric looking colors. But then so he did this at Tamarin. We talked about Tamarin. It's that print shop, the lithography print shop in LA. So he did it in color, and then he did it in black and white.
Oh, ouch.
Ooh,
Look at that.
It feels so different.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like a ghost now.
yeah, now it looks like a ghost.
definitely a ghost, yeah.
And we've talked in the past how if you change one color or change one element of it, it could really totally change the meaning. This is like a perfect example of, this feels kind of cheery. This has a much, it's almost like you can't unsee the color once you go to the black and white.
I
Right,
think
Mhm.
because of the shadows, it
Yeah.
ends up, you see things you didn't see before, like that,
Yeah.
something looking in on him behind his shoulder.
I agree
Mhm.
with Tia.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I can't decide which I like, which tells a better story, because he was a bit of a storyteller. We've looked at his artwork in the past. He was the one that had the moon that was smiling over the bedposts, if you can remember that
Yeah,
one.
I
I
remember
remember,
that.
yeah.
That's like an example of him. So he had a little bit of humor and, of levity in his artwork, but it doesn't feel like a scary ghost. Either one doesn't feel scary.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it looks like that his right hand is kind of in a fist.
Mhm.
It looks as if it's crucified. He hangs, with
Oh, that's
something
true. That's
nailed
true.
through him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if he is in Mexico, if he's a Mexican artist, there's no escaping Catholic iconography,
Yeah.
whether he was Catholic or not. So I just thought it was interesting. Two different ghosts. They look almost exactly the same, but what color can do to the composition.
The color
Flip
went
back
on.
to the color again for me.
Say that again, Steve?
Flip back to the color one, please.
Mhm.
Okay. Because there's details in the black and white that are not in the color.
Yeah. Or what's jumping out at you that you're not, what do you not see here that you're seeing here?
Well, that line that cuts across from arm to arm.
Yeah. So you
and
can
across
sort
the
of
side.
see that.
It's
Oh, you can
there,
see it. Yeah.
it's not pronounced.
It's not as pronounced. It feels a little more obvious here.
The
Yeah.
zipper down one side,
Here,
yes, or the binding.
that's a good way to describe it. Yeah, you can see
Yeah.
it, but it's not as prominent.
Mhm.
In the black and white, it was reminiscent to me of music, because to me, it looked like a piano
Okay.
Oh,
keyboard.
Ah.
So I've been looking at this both in
Uh-huh.
black and white, and I think what I see is that this is some person that's nailed to a tree. Because I see the trunk and back of him, his arms are hung out on limbs.
That could be.
Oh, like,
yeah.
okay, so here is like the width of one side of the tree and then the other side of the tree.
Or that's the background, and the tree is just the little colored stuff or black and white stuff with
Like here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't
to me, it
know.
looks as if there's a person in the background looking at.
That's true. It
Looks
does.
like,
It does,
there's-
yes.
there's an eye in the background.
Eye and a mouth.
Oh, up here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see it
How-
especially
how
on the black and
creepy.
whites.
The black and white one reminds me of an elephant, but you can't see the trunk.
Oh, right here.
That's right.
Yeah.
To me, that could be the ghost looking down, I'm not a religious person, but somebody crucified and God is looking down.
That's
Right,
right.
yeah, like
Yeah,
the,
that's what I see too.
I looked up the definition of ghost, and it simply says that it is the appearance of a dead person, usually ephemeral.
oh. This is a controversial question. Who believes in ghosts? Oh, we got a group of non-believers?
I don't know. I go back and forth.
Okay.
I think just because I haven't seen one doesn't mean they don't exist.
Okay. Well, I thought there'd be more ghost people in this crowd. I am proven wrong. All
When I
right.
was growing up, I was all about ghosts and vampires and werewolves and stuff. So, I mean,
I don't believe in werewolves, Don. Like, come on.
but
Those
vampires
are made up.
are on the table, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Who am I to say?
If you read,
All right.
Don and I like the same kind of book.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, I do not like fantasy books. So I think ghosts exist. Ghosts are real. When I worked at the Denver Art Museum, we always had weird ghost things happening with the artwork, which like really solidified my ghost interest. But All right,
Oh,
we've got
fine.
one more, and this is like just your playful ghost. It's Elliot Porter.
On
which
Porter, yeah.
we couldn't leave him out. But again, it's the New York. That's why we're seeing all these people. And it just, to me, it seemed kind of funny seeing all these grown men looking into the construction site, but because it's such a
Oh, that's what
playful,
that is.
little scaffolding or whatever.
Okay, Casper.
It's, yeah.
And you can see, so there's a ghost, two ghosts,
I see,
pumpkin,
yep.
the jack-o'-lantern,
Pumpkin.
obviously, a witch, a bat, I think we might, a cat,
Cat, yeah.
another ghost. I just thought it was kind of cute.
So
Yeah.
is Elliot Porter took the pictures of these, right?
Yeah.
He didn't,
Yeah.
he didn't, and
He
is the
didn't take
art
these
somebody else's art?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
But it's interesting because people are curious, what's in there? What's in there?
Yeah, they're looking at, seeing what's going, probably construction go behind it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it's just a fun way
Yeah.
to beautify a city when there's a lot of rubble or whatever happening. So,
Mhm.
and there, I mean, I feel like it really is designed to for an adult, because what child, there's no step stool, what child's gonna get up that high? So
That's
this-
right.
Uh-huh.
you know, it's okay to be playful. And so I just thought this was such a fun thing. And then you see these types of things at like pumpkin farms and stuff where you put your head
Yeah.
to on the other side and you know,
Yeah.
you're the scarecrow
Yes.
or whatever.
At first, I thought that's what that was, is sticking your head through it, but they were on the wrong side.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the familiar concept was there, so it makes it even funnier.
Yes, that is a great picture.
It's just fun.
Good on Elliot Porter.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course the colors just look probably brighter than they would have even when you were in New York.
Right,
So
right.
Oh, yeah.
Peggy,
Yeah.
I don't know who Elliot Porter is, and it seems like most people do. So will you kind of tell us who he is? And
yeah,
what-
so he's a photographer. We see him almost every single session. He pops up. That's kind of the joke, that he's Elliot Porter photographed literally everything you can think of. And so particularly nature scenes, animals, birds,
just people.
landscapes, things like that.
Nothing is staged, it's just people,
Yeah.
whatever he sees. Yeah,
Yeah, and so we don't normally see people. He usually is really good at removing people from taking photographs where it just kind of feels sort of timeless.
Mm.
But
We'll see.
he had a trip to New York in the late 70s, and those are some of the only pictures you see with people actually in them.
Almost removed.
So
And his photographs are always drenched in color.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, he's got a really interesting printing process that allows the colors to really speak for themselves when representing nature.
Yes.
So I hate to talk art and dash, but we have an interview that I
Go.
have to sit in on.
So
But
what's next week?
Cemeteries. So
Cemeteries, all right.
we're leaving the ghosts and we're going to their homes now. So
Oh.
all right, guys, have a good week, and I'll see you next week.
You
Okay.
too.
Bye-bye, Peggy.
Bye,
Thank
Peggy.
you, Miss Peggy.